Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Tonville Legend 826. I figured I'd discuss the Indian American culture. Now, as some of you might know, I was born in the United States, but I'm actually an Indian American. My parents came from India. They migrated here from India 4 years before I was born. I was born in 1997. My parents arrived here from India in 1993. So, I was able to have a lot of aspects of the Indian American culture. Like, I knew a lot of relatives from India, I knew a couple of friends of mine that weren't related that were from India. So, I mean, it was a fun experience, I would say, getting to know the Indian culture and everything, and the aspects of it, all the different foods I've eaten from India, the different meals, the different types of, like, curries, for instance. There's like a lot of good aspects about the Indian culture, but there's a lot of also negative aspects about the Indian culture as well. So if you're going to talk about it in this video, if you're totally fine with that, if you want to listen to what I have to say about the Indian culture, by all means, go ahead and listen. So anyways, yeah. There's a lot of good aspects about the Indian culture as well, in America. Being an Indian American opens you to a lot of challenges and a lot of interesting things you can learn about. Being one of the few Indians in my hometown and from my high school, I certainly was able to gain a lot of insight about the Indian American culture and be able to be more proud of my nationality in some ways. It depends on how close I am to the culture, you know. Like when I was younger, I'd often go to India at times to see my relatives a few times during a couple of summers. To be honest, I didn't really like the trip that much, to be honest, because I really hated sitting on the plane rides, like the long plane rides, and having to sit there for 15 hours. It was pretty boring. But seeing my relatives was pretty worthwhile, going to see my family, seeing my grandparents, seeing my cousins, all of them in India, just hanging out with them and stuff. It was okay, I guess. It was alright. I wasn't really too fond of all these trips, to be honest. I didn't really like them that much, but it was still worthwhile because I was seeing family members who, truly care about my well-being in some ways. The Indian culture is alright. The Indian people, I'd say, are pretty decent for the most part. They're pretty alright. But however, there's a lot of things about them I don't honestly like about some of the Indian people, because some of them are, let's be honest, some of the Indian people are kind of arrogant. They think they're better than everybody else around them. They think that they know better than everyone else. They think that they're wiser than everybody else. They think they're smarter than everyone else. And here's the truth: they're not. All right, they're not smarter than everybody else around them, like they think they claim. They think they're better than everybody else around them, but they're not. That's the honest truth. You know. Personally, I have no problems with the Indian culture myself. Personally, I have nothing against the Indian culture personally. I think their music, their movies, Bollywood films, their cinema, I think it's all right. I think their entertainment is pretty okay. I got nothing against them personally. They just got their own way of doing things. I may not necessarily agree with everything they're doing, or agree with all the things they're saying, or all the things that they're like up to and all that. I'm not saying I agree with everything, but I think I can understand their perspective. I can understand the perspective, their point of view. I can understand a good number of it. I can understand like different parts about it. If you know what I mean. You know. But yeah, I was. I was at India fairly often, going there a few times. Going on plane rides. We often went through Mumbai to go to Kerala. We were traveling to traveling to Trivandrum. We had to travel through Mumbai to get there. It was like we had to go on two planes in order to get there. So it was kind of a hustle. Honestly, it was kind of challenging. We took Qatar Airways after Air India, which was pretty alright, I'd say. Wasn't really enjoyable, but it was okay. It was okay. But yeah, it was pretty alright. So we traveled on Qatar Airways. We traveled to see my relatives, a few times. It was pretty fun. Sometimes, I had a couple of friends here in Long Island that were Indian that I saw a few times during my childhood. It was pretty alright. Being an Indian American, there's like so much things you can learn. Being an Indian in the United States. I'm not saying I completely agree with all of that. I'm not saying I agree with everything. I don't agree with all of that. But however, I can understand the perspective. I can understand the perspective of the Indian American culture. I can understand the different aspects about it. I can understand like the different qualities about the culture, and about like how what's it like living as an Indian American in the United States. It can be challenging at times. Because not everybody is open to the idea of foreigners coming to the United States. I was born here, yeah, but not everybody is too welcoming of other people, of a different nationality and a different skin color. You got to be very careful with whom you associate with. I had to be very careful myself. I was too trusting back when I was during my childhood. I was way too trusting, too naive. Didn't make the same, not making the same mistakes again. Make it once, sure, but twice, no way. But anyways, yeah, let me think. Yeah. The Indian parents, I don't think against the Indian parents personally. The Indian parents are family oriented. They believe in helping their children out, giving them good grades and all, and making sure they succeed and do well. That's why you see a lot of Indians in IB programs and the institute programs and the honor roll programs in high schools. That's why you see a good number of Indian students attending those programs. That's totally fine. I have nothing against that. However, I mean, let's be real. Some of the Indian parents are a bit too much. The Indian parents try to control their own children, thinking that they know better than them, thinking that they know everything in the world, that they're better than everybody else, thinking that they've seen everything, they have seen the whole world. Well, here's the news: they haven't. There's a lot of good people there, good people out there. There are a lot of smart people out there who know better than they do. In all honesty, okay, and they think they know better than everyone else. They think that they don't give people the benefit of the doubt. They think they judge everybody based on first appearances, which is often unfair. But that's what we expect from a lot of Indian parents. They judge everyone based on what they see. They judge them, and they think they know better than them. They constantly harass people sometimes to go along with what they believe. Indian parents can really be a pain in the butt. Honestly, that's the honest truth. I grew up in an Indian Christian household. I should know about this. The Indians are completely, sometimes some of them can be really annoying at times, honestly, but that's just the honest truth. Okay, you don't like what I'm saying here or you're offended by it, I can't really do anything about that, but that's how I honestly feel about some of the Indian parents. They really are too controlling. They think they know better than everybody else, and they judge everybody based on their first appearances. They don't even give people the benefit of the doubt at times. There's a lot of good people out there that are doing great things. They just don't even know about it. They don't even care to know about it. They don't want to understand sometimes. Some of the Indian people really need to stop annoying people and start listening, honestly. Especially Indian parents. They have got to be controlled, honestly. Put them under a leash or something. But anyways, that's all I got to say about that. Indian parents are overall okay, in my opinion. They're not perfect by a long shot, but they're okay in some aspects. But they need to really stop trying to control their children, Just give them some freedom. Let them grow and make their own decisions, But the Indian parents are very controlling, and some of them can be really annoying at times, honestly. But not all Indian parents are like. There are some Indian parents that are pretty chill, that are pretty okay, in all honesty. Not all of them, but a good number of them. But yeah, so yeah, that's covering the Indian parents, the Indian culture. That there's different types of Indian meals, like Indian meals. Like for instance, like my parents often we often made chapati. Like we had chapati. Like it's kind of like a wheat bread. Honestly, we have it with curry, chicken curry, fish curry, salmon curry. It tasted pretty good, I would say. They had them in hotels when I was in India. When I was in India during those few times, when I was in hotels, they had them. There's also a meal called biryani. It's basically rice, but it tastes. They add some kind of extra ingredients to it. It tastes pretty good, honestly. Biryani. It's like colored rice, honestly, with a lot of vegetables in it. It tastes pretty good, honestly. You should really try it sometime. Even if you're not Indian, it does taste pretty good, honestly. But yeah, that takes care of Indian meals. There's also dosa, basically an Indian type of breakfast where you could have with chutney, some kind of an Indian dish. Yeah. Now there's Indian culture. Now Indian media, I mean, there's also different types of actors in India. You might have heard some of them, like Salman Khan, Amir Khan. Let me see. Hrithik Roshan. Amitabh Bachchan, Abhishek Bachchan. There's so many different actors from India in Bollywood that are pretty famous, But there's one star who is pretty much known as the king of Bollywood, probably one of the most famous Indian actors, Shah Rukh Khan. He acted in TV serials, but then he started acting in Bollywood films, and then his big hit came in 1995 when he started in this film called Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, which got 10 Oscars, which was nominated as the best film from that year. It was honestly a hit. It was running in theaters for at least 15 years, I think. At least 15 years, So that's how successful the film was. Some aspects of Indian culture truly are enjoyable. That's all I'm trying to say. They're not. I don't agree with all the Indian cultures. I don't agree with all the things that Indian parents do. But I can respect some of the Indian parents and their parenting techniques. They care for their children. They want to see the best for them. But some of the Indian parents can really be arrogant, to be honest, if I had to be honest. Some of them are really arrogant and think they know better than everybody else around them. They can be really judgmental. But the Indian parents are overall okay, in my opinion. Most of them anyways, But that's all I got to say about Indian culture. Being an Indian American is certainly offering a lot of challenges, There's certainly a lot I can learn. There's still a lot I have yet to learn. I don't know everything in the world, and I haven't always done everything perfectly. I've still made mistakes from time to time, but I've learned from them. I'm trying to get better from those mistakes. That's all I got to say, honestly. The Indian American culture can truly be enjoyable to learn about. Honestly, if you're interested in learning more, you can look up information online. There's probably tons of resources you can find out about the Indian American culture. But that's all I got to say for now. Stay safe, everybody. And yeah, that's my thoughts about the Indian American culture. Tonva Legend 826 out.